All right, so this video is to walk you through how to write a complete introductory paragraph. We've done a ton of NVF practice. We've done a good amount of writing topic sentences, and we talked about for a few days how to do a projected plan, which is your third sentence. So what I'd like you to do first is to go ahead and grab either a whiteboard or a piece of paper and pencil, because in addition to answering questions during this Edpuzzle, you're going to be writing some things down so that you can just use the sentences and type them in to write a complete paragraph at the end, and you don't have to redo it. You can just copy what you wrote down. Okay, so now that you have something to write on, let's start. So I'm going to read the article, and we're going to go pick out all the parts we need to write our introductory paragraph. So the title of this article is Gandhi. So here's your first very difficult question. What or who is the subject of this article? All right, that's right. It is Gandhi. So what I want you to do is be thinking about, I'm going to read it through once, and I want you to be thinking about what the main idea of the article is. Now, we know it's about the subject's Gandhi, but what about Gandhi? So what is most of the article about? All right. So Mohandas Gandhi was one of the greatest leaders of the 1900s. He helped free India from British colonial rule without using violence. Gandhi's courage and morals won respect throughout the world. So did the methods of nonviolent resistance he used to gain independence. Today, the people of India consider Gandhi the father of their nation. Okay, so you can usually figure out what the main idea of the article is from the first paragraph. Just like when you write your introduction, that's going to be telling the reader what your paper is about. So after reading the first paragraph, what do you think the main idea of this article is going to be? Okay, yeah, that basically you could say, now I gave you some choices there. So you could say that Gandhi was one of the greatest leaders of the 1900s. Or you can say that he's considered the father of India. But since the second one wasn't a choice, hopefully you picked that he's one of the greatest leaders of the 1900s. All right. Now as I read the paragraphs, there's 4 more paragraphs. So as I read each paragraph to you, sorry, let's actually stop for a second. I want you to pause here, and I want you to write down the main idea on your whiteboard or your paper. So write down that Gandhi was one of the greatest leaders of the 1900s, because you're going to need that sentence at the end of this. Okay, now that you've written that down, so I'm going to read each of the 4 paragraphs. After each paragraph, I'm going to stop and I'm going to ask you what the main idea of the paragraph was. In other words, we're going to be picking out supporting details from each paragraph that supports the idea that Gandhi was one of the greatest leaders. All right, so here's the first paragraph. Gandhi was born in 1869 in Western India. As a child, Gandhi was rebellious. Once he stole some jewelry from his brother, but Gandhi had a strong conscience. He confessed to his father. Gandhi expected anger and punishment. Instead, his father cried. Gandhi felt even worse. From then on, he understood the power of nonviolence. He would later write about the story. Those pearl drops of love cleansed my heart. All right, so what is the first paragraph about? All right, so now that you know the first paragraph was about his childhood, you want to go ahead and write that down. So you can put Y for yellow on your whiteboard or paper, and your first yellow is going to be childhood. All right, so now let's read the next paragraph. Gandhi studied law in England. Soon after, he went to South Africa to do some legal work. It was there that Gandhi felt the sting of prejudice firsthand. Like India, South Africa was also a British colony. Gandhi had been asked to give up his seat on a train by a European person. When Gandhi refused, he was arrested by British police and badly beaten. He did not fight back with fists or weapons. Instead, he vowed to work peacefully to change unjust laws that didn't protect a person's rights. Okay. So, what is, go ahead and pick from the choices, what is the second paragraph mostly about? All right. So, kind of the subject of the paragraph is that this is where Gandhi first encountered prejudice. All right. So, on your whiteboard or your paper, put another Y for the next yellow and put experienced prejudice. All right. Okay. Third paragraph, or third main paragraph or body paragraph. In 1914, Gandhi returned to India. British laws were unjust, placing many Indians at an economic disadvantage. For example, by law, Indians could only buy goods made in British factories. To protest this system, Gandhi stopped wearing cloth made in Britain. Instead, he spun his own cloth from Indian cotton. He encouraged others to do the same. The boycott worked. It hurt British clothing sales in India. It also allowed Indians to sell more of their own cloth. With more income, they wouldn't be as poor. Gandhi also fought British injustice by fasting. He would refuse to eat for 5 or 6 days. Gandhi's fast drew public attention to his cause. Newspapers and the public began to sympathize with Gandhi. They put pressure on the British government to change its ways. Okay, so what is the main idea of this paragraph? All right, so this is where basically that Gandhi returned to India and realized that the British laws were not fair. They were unjust. Okay, so go ahead and write your third Y for yellow, which is your third supporting detail, and write discovered unjust laws. Right, discovered unjust laws. Okay, last paragraph. Gandhi spent 7 years in jail because of his political activities. To him, it was honorable to be jailed for a good cause. He continued his nonviolent protest and disobedience to British rule. He had faith that truth and nonviolence would win in the end. In 1947, Britain finally bowed to Gandhi's peaceful pressure. India was finally granted independence. Sadly, Gandhi was assassinated for his beliefs in 1948. Years later, Martin Luther King Jr. would use Gandhi's nonviolent ways to protest injustice in America. Gandhi is remembered to this day as Mahatma. The word means great soul. All right, so what is this last paragraph mostly about? All right, so again, you don't want to put one little part of the paragraph, so if you just said he was jailed, well, that's not what the whole paragraph's about, right? Overall, the paragraph is about his political activities, right? What he did to help change things. So for your last Y on your whiteboard or your paper, write political activities. Okay, so now what you have is you should have the main idea of the article, and you should have 4 supporting details. And you're going to use those details to write your third sentence of your introduction, the projected plan. So what you're going to do is you're going to first write your NVF. All right. So eventually what you're going to do is you're going to use what I say in this video and the information you wrote down on your whiteboard or paper, and you're going to go over to the go to the assignment below where it says to write an introductory paragraph introducing the Gandhi article, or what you would be writing about if you were writing about Gandhi. Okay, so first you need to start with your NVF, right? So remember the format. I'm going to actually give you I'm going to give you some NVFs to choose from, and you can even pick one of the NVFs out that you think would be the best to type in as your NVF. So go ahead and choose what you think you would write. Okay, so again, we start every single one of these with in the informative article. Hold on, I'm not going to use my little pen here. I'm going to type. So and make sure, since I'm basically helping you through this, that when you type it into the assignment below, that your spelling is correct, that all the punctuation is correct, commas, quotation marks. Otherwise, you will lose some points because I'm basically helping you do this whole thing. All right, so in the informative article, we put our comma, we always capitalize. Oops, for some reason is correcting Gandhi. Oh, it's because I'm spelling it wrong. Good thing I checked. Spelling should not be an issue because we all have spell check on our computers now. And get that other quote in there. Okay. All right. We don't have an author's name. Okay, the author describes why Gandhi was a great man. Okay, something along those lines. Wait, we actually said, sorry, you guys wrote down the main idea. Was one of the greatest leaders of the 1900s, sorry. Because I told you to write that down so you could copy it. Okay. So here's your NVF. All right. Now I'm not going to do every part of this for you, but there's your first sentence. So you put a period, and then your topic sentence is going to go next, right? So again, topic sentence, topic sentence is going to start with the subject, right? If I could spell, subject. So we know who the subject is, right? So you're going to start with his name, all right? And then what's the main idea, right? He was one of the greatest leaders. So Gandhi was one of the greatest leaders. And then finish that sentence, put a power number word in there to finish that sentence and you're going to use that and write your topic sentence, all right? Okay. So I'm not going to give you that one. I want you to do that. I basically gave it to you anyway, but all right. Now for our projected plan. You guys have 4 yellows written down. So what you have to do is you're going to list those 4 yellows. All right. You're going to list the 4 yellows about Gandhi's childhood, experience with prejudice, realizing British laws were unjust, and political activities made him, you can actually use the other main idea we're going to think of, made him the father of India and one of the world's greatest leaders. All right. So feel free to stop and write that down, what I just said. Rewind, go back in the video, use that, and you can copy my projected plan, but that's going to be your 3rd sentence. All right. So basically you're going to write the 3 sentences in the assignment below, and make sure you have proper punctuation, spelling, capitalization, and you're going to turn that in. So this Ed Puzzle is 1 grade, and then Writing the whole paragraph, introductory paragraph, in the assignment below is another grade. All right. So just to review again, what are the 3 sentences that make up an introductory paragraph that you're going to write about this article? That's right. It's NVF, then a topic sentence, then a projected plan. And just remember, when you type your introductory paragraph in the below, make sure all the sentences go together. It's a paragraph, so you don't return each time. You don't have spaces. So you'd write this first one, and then if I'm going to start my topic sentence, I would go like this: Gandhi was, right, and whatever you're going to write. Okay, period. Then write one space right next to it. You do your projected plan. List your 4 yellows and finish it with a power number word and some other words. All right. So this Edpuzzle and your introductory paragraph are both due tomorrow, Tuesday, but I really suggest you start it today. If you need help, please come see me. I will be in my office hours are 1:15 to 2 o'clock. Every day, so you can come see me if you need to today or tomorrow, because it is due tomorrow.